But what if they looked at everybody in the building and knew they could make a thing? I'm Chris.
I'm Eddie.
What happened? Tell me. You've been thinking about it. I can see it on your lip. What is it?
I have been waiting to tell you this for about a week and a half.
God, that's 10 days.
So, yeah, I know. I was at work. One of the things I do for work is I am a tour guide on the Masshole Comedy Trolley Tour. Follow me at the Eddie McCabe. If you want to come on it, I can get you a discounted ticket. Anyway.
Boston, where being a jerk can sell tickets.
Yeah. And so we drive around the city and make jokes and mostly fun of the people that are on the trolley. And because it is the most Boston thing in the world to just be an absolute dick to you.
Give me money, and I am going to roast you for the next half an hour
Yeah, that's
while
it.
I point at old stuff.
That is 100% what it is.
That's what's on our flag.
I've always had a dream to be a Jungle Cruise skipper down at Walt Disney World. But I know myself well enough to know that I would hate actually doing it for longer than a month.
Okay.
Because Disney World's Jungle Cruise, while seems improvised, very much a script. And it's also Walt Disney World. And you can't tell anybody what you want, But at the Masshole Comedy Trolley Tour, I get to have British people come onto the trolley, and I get to point at different landmarks, and I go, we kicked your ass there, and we kicked your ass there, and everybody loves it.
That's outstanding.
So I had a tour the other day.
That is Boston history in a nutshell.
It is.
We beat the British.
That is it.
Alone.
No help from the French at all.
At all. The Who?
Never mind.
Not at all.
But freedom fries. But there's a lady on our tour, and because we always tell them before, because it's Boston, the tour will either be 90 minutes or 4 hours, depending on traffic. And we were stuck in traffic. Rush hour Boston traffic. It's delightful. And I asked her, I go, hey, this is the get to know you portion. What do you do for a living? And she tells me she's a malpractice lawyer down in Texas. And I go,
She should try doing it the right way.
yeah, she should. And so I ask her, I go, what's the craziest story that you've ever had to deal with as a malpractice lawyer? Somebody left a scalpel in somebody? And she goes, no, but I was with a woman and her family, and we were putting together a suit, and the lady goes, my sister can't be a part of it because she is currently in prison because she was a nurse at an elderly home or an assisted living home, and her lesbian partner were murdering patients. The way they picked their people were by their initials, and they were spelling out murder. They got all the way to D before somebody figured it out.
Is this a real story actually happened?
This is a real 100% story.
And not like a way to finally entrap the Batman?
Yeah, no.
This feels like, remember those books that were like, M is for
yes,
don't go in there, Mary.
Yeah, right.
Remember that?
Yes.
This feels like a series of novels in which we build it.
Your dastardly plan.
They got to murd.
They got to murd.
They got all the way.
They got Mary, Ulysses, Robert, and Diane before anybody figured it out.
Why were those their names?
I don't know.
I really hope one of them was Ulysses.
It has to be.
The list is short.
It's
like
Ulysses, Urkel,
Umberto. Oh no! If they killed Urkel, I would know.
He would know.
I would know if they killed Stephen Q. Urkel. The Q stands for Quincy. That's like that's like something that should be on Netflix.
Yes,
that there was because you were like. Did they leave a scalpel in somebody? It's like, no, they left. They
murdered. Their sister was in jail currently.
If anything, left a trail of scissors. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
But I've been waiting to tell you that story, and your reaction didn't disappoint.
They got all the way to murd?
Murd.
How were they murd? Were they just like, maybe I don't even want to know the answer to this. Were they like neglecting these people or like
killing them with syringes and drugs?
With syringes and drugs, probably drugs drugs in the syringes.
Yep, probably drugs in the syringes.
Did they know who was? There's some lady named Eunice who was just like
oh, thank God.
Every Ethel in the building is just like really like calling their family.
The other Robert.
That was a close one. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, some guy down the road named Romeo.
Yeah,
that's like that is. I feel like you. They got you. Obviously, they got caught, right?
Everybody they were in. That woman was in jail, so they were like, she cannot participate.
Like, please don't tell me I'm the first person you're telling about murder.
She is in prison and can't be a part of our malpractice lawsuit because I feel like you lose the malpractice lawsuit when you murder people by malpractice.
Like what would even be the case of like malpractice? Like I feel like malpractice is just like we were trying stuff on them. Like this was a organized, like again,
murder plot between two lesbian lovers.
That's what, like, I don't even really know where that is the most. What?
Yep.
What happened? Like again, I feel like we're in a series of novels, and I'm glad we didn't get to the end. But like, this is how psychos try to like entice Jodie Foster into like their lair. You know what I mean? Like this is like some straight up Hannibal.
They're like, we need to kill these elderly people to take them out of their misery, and this random nurse decided that.
Did they have that? Did they have like a manifesto?
I don't know if they had a manifesto, but they definitely picked people by their names.
Wow. That is not what I thought you were going to tell me. I thought you were going to tell me, like, I was doing this, like, tour on the thing, and then somebody was like, hey, I'm British, and you keep making fun of the British a lot. It's like, we're going to.
Yeah,
we're going to.
We're about to have America's birthday. It's only going to get worse.
We were, enjoy going to work on July 4th.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Who does that? Speaking of July 4th, I have a story that now in no way pales in comparison to you. You were like, think of something interesting that happened around the 4th, and I'm like, I definitely for real saw a UFO. You ever seen a UFO? I saw a UFO.
I've never seen a UFO.
I have a video of the UFO.
You have a video of the UFO?
I'm gonna pretend we have an editor. Andy.
Yep, Andy.
I'm gonna send you the video of the UFO. I had just moved into my condo, and I have the little porch outside, right?
Sure.
And I was out there, and one of the cool things is that the beach is right at, we're on the ocean, and the beach is right at the end of the road.
Sure.
And people, when I moved in here, it was like, it's really cool. You'll see the fireworks just sitting on your deck, and you'll look out, and they're going to be right there. It's an awesome part of living here in this building. You're going to love it.
That's dope.
Right? It's great. And I'm on there, and I've lived here for like 4 days, okay, at this point. Like, I'm very, very new here, right? And I look out, and there's fireworks, and all of a sudden I just see this red pulsing, like this pulse that doesn't move, and it's this red pulse. And I took many a video, Andy, the editor that's real and over there.
Yeah. He's off screen. This is a very big operation.
And like people were like, oh, maybe it was a drone like looking at the fireworks. And I'm like, no, because you'll see in the video, the object is the light. The light is the object. There's nothing that's casting a light onto something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was a drone, this light was so bright it would have distorted the image it was trying to capture. If this theoretically the drone would be to look at to get the fireworks show.
Also, they don't have those type of lights on them unless it's like a really shitty one.
And this was like, whoa, you know, and the more that you zoomed in, the more you could see that this thing had like what I would call like a nucleus, like a little, like a perfect center, and the object was pulsing. The object was the light was the object. That is what I'm keep saying. And this thing at one point just zooms over here and then zooms back, and then when everything's over, it zooms away. And there's no drone that moves that fast. There's no drone that would have been... The operator would have been all the way over there. Miles and miles away.
Sure, and they don't have that range.
It would have been somebody on the ground. You know what I mean? If this thing had just sort of softly fallen after the show, then it's a drone. It wasn't a drone. I saw a UFO. And I definitely, actually really did see a UFO. But that UFO, to my knowledge, isn't a rampaging lesbian lunatic murderer,
elderly murderer,
who
what if they were abducting people, but they were abducting people in the initials that spelled abduction?
What if they were only just beginning and they were going for like murder is cool?
Or even like murder
is awesome. That's 3 more letters.
That's true. I think they were just going to say murder over and over again.
Do you think that they were going to like probably find somebody there who's like Eastern European, whose name was like exclamation point?
Right.
Murder, and then like all of a sudden, oh no, exclamation point guy, you're definitely next.
Yeah.
You're gonna cap this thing off.
Yeah, that has to be it.
The last thing, like, okay, so is this awful to say about this? Like, is this a terrible thing to say where it's like, I'm glad they were apprehended, right?
Yeah, sure.
For the greater good and for all of humanity.
But you're a little frustrated they didn't get ER?
They got to murd, and I do want to know if that was really it.
Or there was more.
Like a full
What
sentence.
if they did do a manifesto?
What if they were going for a complete thought?
Yeah.
What if, okay, terrible, but what if they looked at everybody in the building and knew they could make a thing? Like, murder is our plan.
Sure. Yeah, and they figured out everybody's initials and, like, bananagrammed it.
Yeah, murder is our plan. We kiss each other.
Yeah, sure.
Something like that.
Sure.
And then, like, they, you know what I mean? Like, the very last guy would have been Hector.
Yeah.
And then but that would have been I'm glad that, like, 17 more people didn't die. That is for the better. That is better.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to know what they were going for.
If you were going to murder people by their initials, what names would you target? Are there any names you would target?
I can't believe they found a U.
Right.
It's like, who was you? Was it Ulysses? Was it
Urkel?
It's not Urkel. It's not Urkel.
Nobody's named Urkel?
Do you think that I would know. Yeah. I would know if Jaleel White died.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it was Urkel.
Something in me would just like, no, because if it's an old person, like, okay.
Like, Ulysses does feel like a real name an old person would have.
You're right, because somebody insane like me, like a nerd like me, would name their kid Urkel, right? But not enough time has passed.
You tried to get our friend's kid to be named Urkel.
Like, they were so close to giving birth on November 27th, which is Jaleel White's birthday.
It's also weird that you know that.
Oh, yeah, I sure do. That's how you know. You're like, oh, did Urkel die? No, I would know.
No, I know.
Something in me, like a mama's soul, would just like, all of a sudden I'd just shiver and I'd be like, we lost Steve.
Yeah,
I would just know.
You would know.
Okay, that's how connected I am to the Urk.
To the Urkel?
To the Urk man.
Sure.
Okay? But, like, the thing is, like, would I, if I ever had a kid by complete and total accident, name that thing Urkel because it's hysterical? Yeah, but not enough time has passed where that kid could be old.
Sure.
So
right.
if these
this didn't take place in the future.
So if these
it took place in the past.
Murderous lesbians were going after Hughes specifically, it's unlikely to be Urkel.
It is
not impossible. Yeah, unlikely, I would say.
Sure.
Umberto.
Is it really weird that those are the only three names of you we can think of?
Yeah, and one of them is Urkel.
And one of them is Urkel. We went to a Civil War general and a 90s television star.
Fun fact about that. Like, you'd think that it was a completely made up name because, like, Irk, like, your kid irks me, Urkel.
Yeah,
Steve,
right.
No one's name is Steve Urkel. One of the writers on the show went to a school with a total nerd named Steve Urkel, and he named him Steve Urkel. There is a Steve Urkel, everybody.
And that's so funny.
And shout out to the police for stopping
a
murder. However, there is an alternate, more interesting universe where I want to know what they spelled.
Yeah.
I'm going to admit it. I do. I want to know what they spelled. We are not too old to.
Bye.